Stoic mindfulness, living fully in each moment. Are you really here or just passing through your life? That question might feel uncomfortable, but it's important because most of us aren't really living. We're just moving from one task to the next, from one screen to another, from one day to the next, without ever pausing long enough to ask, where's all this going? We wake up already rushed, scroll before we breathe, answer messages before checking in with ourselves. And before we know it, the day is gone. The week disappears, months blur into each other, and somewhere along the way, time slips quietly through our fingers. It doesn't shout as it passes, it doesn't ask for attention, it simply fades, one moment at a time, a glance you didn't return, a thought you didn't finish, a quiet morning you rushed past because it felt unimportant. But those little moments, they are your life. Not the someday plans, not the highlight reels. This, right now. That's what the Stoics tried to teach us. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you while you live, while it is in your power. Be good. He wasn't being dark. He was being awake. The modern world moves fast. It rewards urgency. But peace is never found in a rush. That's why we have to ask ourselves, am I present or just productive? Am I aware or just efficient? Because if we're not careful, we'll trade the richness of now for the illusion of just getting through today. But life isn't something you get through, it's something you feel. Notice. Live. So today, pause. Notice the breath in your lungs, the sound of the wind, the light coming through the window, the people you love while they're still here. Because time is always moving, but you don't have to. Slow down, look around, and choose to be here, fully, before the moment becomes a memory. What does it mean to live the moment in Stoicism? Live the moment. We hear this phrase everywhere, on posters, in self-help books, and across social media feeds. But in the world of Stoicism, it means something far deeper than indulgence or escape. It's not about chasing pleasure. It's not about ignoring responsibilities. In fact, it's the opposite. To the Stoics, living the moment is not a call to feel more. It's a call to be more present, more thoughtful, more alive in whatever you're doing right now. Unlike the philosophy of hedonism, which says seek pleasure now, worry later, Stoicism teaches do what's right now and let the outcome go. It's not about losing yourself in comfort or excess. It's about showing up fully as a rational, moral, and conscious human being in this one unrepeatable moment. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor philosopher, put it simply, confine yourself to the present. Why? Because the present is the only place where action exists. The past is gone. The future is not yet real. Only this moment is yours to shape. So the Stoic doesn't live the moment to escape. He lives it to embody virtue, to speak truthfully, to act wisely, to respond calmly, even in discomfort, even when no one notices, even when the reward is silence. To live the moment in Stoicism is a kind of discipline. It means saying, I will not be ruled by regret. I will not waste today fearing tomorrow. I will do what's mine to do, right here, right now, with full attention. This mindset is freeing because you stop carrying the weight of everything you can't control. You stop chasing distractions that promise happiness but deliver only noise. Instead, you return over and over to this breath, this task, this opportunity to live with intention. So no, the Stoic doesn't seek to escape the moment or stretch it into something pleasurable. They step into it eyes open, willing to meet whatever it brings, joy or pain, success or setback, comfort or discomfort, because living the moment to a Stoic is a moral act, a wise act, a deeply human act. It's how we live a life of meaning, not just motion. Seneca's warning, life is long if you know how to use it. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Seneca. That line has echoed through centuries. At first, it may sound harsh, but like all great Stoic wisdom, it's not meant to shame us. It's meant to wake us up. Seneca wasn't saying life is endless. He was saying it's enough. Enough for reflection, enough for purpose, enough for beauty, for love, for greatness, if we stop wasting it. So what does waste mean in this context? Seneca didn't just mean mindless entertainment or idle distraction, though those count too. He meant all the ways we lose ourselves without even noticing. Living someone else's dream, chasing validation, replaying the past, fearing a future that hasn't arrived, filling every silence with noise, saying yes when we mean no, being busy but not present. We think life is short because the days blur. We wake up tired, rush through routines, scroll through moments, and collapse at night wondering where the time went. But the truth is, it didn't vanish. We gave it away. Seneca wrote his essay on the shortness of life over 2,000 years ago, and yet it feels like it was written for today's world. A world addicted to speed. A world where people boast about being too busy as if distraction was a badge of honor. But what if the real flex is presence? What if the real wealth is attention? To the Stoics, time was sacred. It was the most personal thing you owned. And to waste it, not with rest but with carelessness, was a form of spiritual poverty. Seneca challenges us to rethink everything. Are you living deliberately or just reacting? Are you filling your days with meaning or just motion? Are you chasing a life or actually living one? Because the truth is, life can feel short when we live it passively, but it stretches, deepens, and becomes full when we live it intentionally. So here's the invitation. Take back your time. Notice your hours. Don't just count the days, make them count. Seneca wasn't promising you more years. He was reminding you that you already have enough. Enough to love, enough to grow, enough to become who you were meant to be. If only you stop giving it away. Epictetus and the power of presence. It's not things that disturb us, but our judgment of them. Epictetus. It's one of the most powerful lines in all of Stoic thought, and it points to a truth we often forget. It's not what happens to you, it's what you think about what happens. The traffic, the criticism, the uncertainty, these are just events. What turns them into stress, anger, or fear is your interpretation. Epictetus believed that the real source of human suffering wasn't in the world outside, but in the judgments we place on that world. And that's where the power of presence begins. Because to be present is to become aware. Aware of your thoughts, aware of your emotional habits, aware of the gap between what's happening and what you tell yourself it means. The modern mind is always racing. We're constantly thinking ahead, rehashing the past, comparing, worrying, reacting. But the Stoic mind pauses. It observes, it notices, not to avoid emotion, but to understand it, not to numb life, but to see it clearly. Presence is the space between stimulus and response. It's the moment when you hear yourself say, "This is bad," and instead of believing it instantly, you ask, "Is that really true?" To Epictetus, this was the beginning of freedom. Not freedom from hardship, but freedom from being ruled by your mind. And the practice is simple, though not easy. Step back, notice the story you're telling. Ask, is this within my control? Ask, is this story useful? Ask, what would a wise person do here? Presence is not some abstract ideal. It's deeply practical. It's how you stop spiraling. It's how you meet difficulty with clarity. It's how you return to yourself when the world feels overwhelming. Because when you become present to your own mind, you start living in truth, not in fear or ego or illusion. So what does Epictetus teach us? That you are not your thoughts, you are the observer of your thoughts. And in that space, there is power, there is choice, there is peace. The power of presence isn't about controlling the world, it's about mastering how you meet it. And that, the Stoics believed, is the beginning of wisdom. Marcus Aurelius on the sacredness of now. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Marcus Aurelius. Few words are more grounding than these. Not dramatic, not dark, simply honest. You could leave life right now, not someday, not in the distant future, but now. And if that's true, then how should you live this moment? For Marcus Aurelius, this wasn't a warning. It was a reminder, a gentle call to presence, to clarity, to living each breath with purpose. This is the essence of memento mori. Remember, you must die, but not in a morbid way, in a deeply awakening way. Because when we remember that time is limited, we begin to live as if each moment matters, because it does. The modern world tries to numb this truth. We scroll, we plan, we chase, we speak as if we have unlimited tomorrows. But Marcus knew, now is all you ever really have. The past is memory, the future is unknown. But this moment, this very second, is alive. And what you do with it is the truest reflection of who you are. So how do we live this way? We pause. We notice. We stop rushing through the ordinary as if it doesn't count. We stop putting off kindness. We stop holding back our gifts. We stop assuming there will be time later, because later is never promised. Memento mori doesn't ask us to fear death. It invites us to honor life, to see the sacredness in the now, not because it's dramatic, but because it's real. When you remember that you could leave life at any moment, small annoyances become meaningless. Grudges lose their weight. You speak with more truth. You love with less hesitation. You show up. Marcus Aurelius lived with the weight of an empire on his shoulders. And still, he wrote about breathing deeply, acting with virtue, cherishing the present. He didn't let urgency steal his soul. He let impermanence sharpen his focus. So maybe that's the lesson for us too. Don't wait for a crisis to start living fully. Let this moment be sacred. Let now be enough, because you could leave life right now. And if you did, what would you want your last thought, word, or action to be? Choose that, live that, and you'll never waste a single breath. Practical Stoic habits to anchor yourself in the moment. In a world of speed, multitasking, and mental clutter, the greatest luxury might be a quiet, present mind. The Stoics knew this long before our age of endless notifications. They didn't chase time, they honored it. They didn't try to do everything, they tried to do the right thing, fully and with intention. So how did they stay grounded? How did they live in the moment when the world pulled them in 1,000 directions? Through simple, steady practices that brought them back to clarity, day after day. For one, reflective meditation, journaling morning and night. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, didn't write his meditations for anyone else. They were private reflections, notes to himself, a place to return, a space to slow down. In the morning, he reminded himself of what the day might bring: difficult people, unexpected problems, inner resistance. He didn't do this to complain. He did it to prepare, to enter the day with calm, not surprise. At night, he reflected, did I act with integrity? Did I waste time on things outside my control? Did I live well? This practice isn't about perfection. It's about awareness, about seeing your life, not just living it on autopilot. 2. One thing at a time, doing with full attention. Stoicism teaches us the present task is the only task. When you eat, just eat. When you write, just write. When you listen, really listen. Multitasking isn't efficiency, it's fragmentation. It splits your mind and drains your peace. By doing one thing at a time, fully, slowly, completely, you return to the center of your life. You find presence in action, not by trying to escape it, but by entering it completely. As Marcus Aurelius put it, concentrate every minute like a Roman on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness. These habits are simple, but they are not small. They are a daily rebellion against distraction, against rush, against the myth that presence is a luxury. Presence is a discipline, a practice, a way of life. And the Stoics didn't just preach it, they lived it. So maybe you don't need to change your entire life to feel more peaceful. Maybe you just need to return again and again to this moment, this breath, this task, this thought. And in doing so, you begin to live more fully in the only place life ever truly happens: now. Freedom through presence. What if the truest form of freedom is simply being here? Not lost in yesterday, not rushing toward tomorrow, but fully alive in this breath, this thought, this moment. That's the kind of freedom the Stoics cherished. Not freedom from responsibility, not freedom from difficulty, but freedom from being owned by memory, fear, craving, or distraction. When you're present, you are no longer trapped by what once happened. You're no longer performing for a future that hasn't arrived. You are simply here. And that here is where life happens, not in your regrets, not in your expectations, not in someone else's timeline. The Stoics believed that presence is the path to inner sovereignty. Epictetus reminded us, no man is free who is not master of himself. And what does self-mastery look like? It's the ability to pause, to notice your own thoughts, to choose your response, to step into the now without judgment, without clinging, without needing it to be anything else. When you live this way, something shifts. You're no longer dragged by the weight of the past. You're no longer chasing applause or running from silence. You stop reacting and start responding, because you're not running, you're rooted. And that rootedness, that's where peace begins. Being present is not passive. It's not drifting or zoning out. It's an act of deep courage. Because when you're truly here, you're forced to face what is. Not what you hoped for, not what you fear, but what is. And that honesty gives birth to strength. Presence in the Stoic sense is not just a tool, it's a liberation. It sets you free from the noise in your head, from the stories you've inherited, from the need to control the uncontrollable. When you're present, you are no longer a prisoner of your mind. You are the observer, the author. the stillness beneath the storm. So ask yourself, where am I right now? Am I here or just passing through? Because when you come back to the present moment, you come back to your power, the power to choose your next word, to guide your next breath, to live not on autopilot, but with clarity. And that is real freedom. Final reflection. This moment is enough. You don't need more time. You need more presence. We spend so much of our lives chasing more hours, more clarity, more peace, more purpose, as if they live somewhere ahead of us. But what if they've been here all along? Not hiding in the next accomplishment, but waiting quietly in the moment you're living right now. The Stoics didn't teach us to escape the world. They taught us to meet it, fully, bravely, wisely. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, don't waste what's left of your life by guessing what comes next, because this moment, this breath, this conversation, this small choice is not small. It is sacred. It is a chance to practice reason, to respond with integrity, to act with compassion, to notice beauty, to express gratitude, to be who you are meant to be, not someday, but now. Every moment is an opportunity, not for more, but for better, for deeper presence, for simpler truth, for honest living. And that's enough. You don't need more time to be kind. You don't need more time to say what matters. You don't need more time to pause, breathe, and return to yourself. What you need is to be here. The mind will always try to drag you into yesterday's weight or tomorrow's worry, but the Stoic way is to return again and again to what is within your control, to what is right in front of you, and that is always this moment to live with dignity, this moment to notice what you usually overlook, this moment to anchor into your values, this moment to see life not as a blur, but as a gift. Because this moment is not empty, it is not ordinary, it is not just another second, it is life itself. So you don't need more time, you need more presence. You need the courage to slow down, the wisdom to say no to distraction, the clarity to see that you are already standing in the only place where peace is possible, now. And when you live from that place, no moment is wasted, no breath is taken for granted, and every day becomes a quiet act of grace. This moment is enough, and so are you.